Listen to me carefully. Have you ever wondered why, in critical moments, your hands begin to tremble uncontrollably and your breath is seized as if by a vice, turning your mind into a field of chaotic battle beyond your control? Don't look away. I am speaking directly to you because you know this feeling firsthand. When life's circumstances crash down like a storm, instead of becoming the thunder, you become a person desperately trying to hide from the lightning. But what is most alarming here is not the fear of the moment itself, but the horror of discovering who you become when your familiar world collapses and all supports disappear. Niccolò Machiavelli once observed that one cannot hide from necessity, and the pressure of circumstances is that very necessity which tears off masks and drags your true self into the light. Most people cannot endure the encounter with the creature they see in the mirror at such moments because they were taught to be harmless and obedient to their fear, not to command it. But I will tell you something absolutely honest. Hidden within you is a monster, not a loud, raving beast, but a cold, silent force that when feeling pressure does not flinch. It only becomes sharper, watching danger without blinking. This inner force is distinguished by the fact that it does not flee from fear, but subjugates it, making it work for you. Such a person does not give in to emotions and panic. He waits, calculates, and strikes only when the moment is perfectly right. He becomes invulnerable, not because of the absence of fear, but through complete dominance over it within his own chest. You are not here to seek salvation or display weakness. You are here because you are tired of breaking and surrendering. Now we will examine the harsh Machiavellian principles that will forever change your approach to pressure, transforming panic into clarity and tension into personal power. The first principle: become dangerous. Forget about being harmless. Look at your life soberly, and you will notice a disturbing pattern. Every time you tried to be convenient and quiet, others took advantage of that, and your softness was turned into a weapon against yourself. The world lives by cruel rules where the harmless are neither respected nor protected. They are simply ignored, and what society ignores, it eventually crushes. Machiavelli was right in asserting that if love and fear cannot be combined, it is safer to inspire fear. Strength is born not in safety, but in the ability to represent a threat. For in battle with circumstances, those who cannot show character are the first to fall. It is essential to recognize a fundamental distinction. Being dangerous does not mean being reckless or sowing chaos. It means possessing competence, inner power, and a steel core to respond with force when the situation demands it. True respect is earned by one who is capable of causing harm, but consciously chooses restraint. This is calmness backed by real power. When pressure mounts, a weak person breaks because there is only emptiness and fear inside him, whereas the dangerous person continues to breathe evenly, adapts, and prepares for action, knowing that his arsenal contains everything necessary for a decisive response. This transformation begins not in the moment of conflict, but in the silence of discipline. Every time you choose structure over chaos and overcome discomfort, you build psychological armor, guaranteeing that the world will never be able to intimidate you again. Imagine yourself at the peak of tension, being provoked and tested for resilience. Instead of an emotionally driven reaction from your former self, the new version maintains icy calm, controlling breath and gaze. In this silence, where you do not give away your energy, lies a threat more terrifying than any shout. It is the capacity for action, not loud words, that makes you a force that cannot be ignored. And I urge you to choose this path of power. The second principle: total control over your physiology. Your body is the first line of defense that pressure tries to breach long before the mind begins to yield, and you must learn to prevent this. Notice how treacherously your physical state changes when the level of tension begins to rise. This is where the real work on yourself begins. Your heart starts pounding furiously without your permission. Your shoulders turn to stone, and your breathing becomes shallow and erratic. Even when you mentally command yourself to stay calm, your hands betray you with trembling, and your vision narrows to a tunnel. This is not coincidence. It is the complete capitulation of your body before your mind had even had a chance to comprehend what is happening. Machiavelli rightly noted that a ruler who cannot govern himself cannot govern nothing. And this harsh law works without fail when you find yourself under the pressure of circumstances. If you do not learn to control the complex mechanisms within your own frame, the external world will do it for you, turning you into a puppet in someone else's game. In a stressful situation, the nervous system tries to forcibly switch you into panic mode, pushing you towards irrational actions and hasty decisions. But true strength lies in the ability to intercept that signal. Most people become prisoners of inner chaos, mistaking the body's first reaction for truth, while a true leader breaks this script, forcing physiology to obey his will, not his fear. Remember the harsh truth that many ignore. In the heat of conflict, it is absolute stillness that generates power, and deliberately slowing the breath shifts the brain from survival mode to command mode. When you intentionally relax your jaw, drop your shoulders, and press your feet firmly into the ground, you send your nervous system an unambiguous command to cease the panic. This is not some spiritual practice. It is a hard biological reset. Every deep breath restores clarity of thought, transforming your vulnerability into total control of the situation. While external pressure tries to accelerate your reactions, you must deliberately slow down, for this is how inner dominance is born, inaccessible to a superficial gaze.
Imagine a situation where everyone around is shouting, rushing, and losing their heads, and you enter this storm with icy calm, artificially slowing your pulse and keeping your face completely impenetrable. Such composure frightens those around more than any aggression. For a person whose physiology remains unchanged amid universal chaos becomes unpredictable, and therefore fatally dangerous to an opponent. Complete mastery of your own body grants you an invaluable strategic resource: time. Time needed for observation, planning, and allowing others to make fatal mistakes. The one who keeps a cool head always outplays the panicker, using pauses as a tactical advantage and turning timing into a weapon superior to brute force or speed. You rise above circumstances not through luck, but through iron discipline of the flesh, when you stop reacting reflexively and begin to conduct your own state. Your body must obey you without question, and so the next step toward power is the ruthless eradication of emotional impulses. Any spontaneous reaction under pressure is either your shield or your vulnerability, and most men waste their lives surrendering their strength to anger, fear, or momentary desires. Emotions in battle are not allies, they are reality-distorting traps that only increase danger, cloud perception, and open you up to an opponent's strike. Acting under the influence of the moment is the unaffordable luxury of fools. Survival demands cold mathematical calculation, not a hot head. You must learn to suppress the instinctive desire to shout, lunge, or strike, understanding that every uncontrolled outburst is yet another chain shackling your freedom and allowing the world to bend you to its will. Observe yourself in moments of irritation or fear. Notice how quickly the body wants to act and how easily you become a predictable object for manipulation by others. A strong personality intercepts the emotional impulse before it can become action, viewing fear, anger, or excitement only as informational signals, not as instructions for immediate execution. When you conduct yourself as though feelings hold no power over your decisions, you become a player whose moves cannot be predicted, and this provokes genuine awe in opponents. The true master of life acts like a grandmaster, not a pawn. He replaces chaos with clarity and instinct with strategy, knowing that patience in response always reinforces authority. Become the man whose decisions are dictated not by a momentary emotional impulse, but by cold, strategic vision, for this is what separates the weak in spirit from those who are truly invincible. The fourth principle: always move at your own pace. Listen carefully. Time is never neutral, and most men are slaves to the clock, hostages to the tempo imposed by others, and victims of panic that grows as danger approaches. They rush, stumble, and make fatal mistakes simply because they allowed external forces to dictate the rhythm of their lives. Machiavelli once noted that a prudent man who knows how to wait for the right moment will always surpass one who acts rashly, and this rule applies to anyone who seeks to maintain dominance under pressure. A person of inner strength behaves differently under the pressure of circumstances. He refuses to hurry and does not allow the situation to push him from behind. He himself sets the pace of every encounter, every decision, and every movement, thereby controlling the outcome of the battle before it even begins. When the crowd accelerates, he deliberately slows down. When others hesitate, he acts with lightning speed. While chaos reigns around him, he becomes that immovable axis around which events revolve. This is the great power of the right tempo. Your mind and body are instruments, and rhythm is the score to which you play your part. Those who move too fast become predictable. Their energy is obvious, their intentions transparent, and their vulnerabilities exposed. Those who move too slowly risk ridicule, being underestimated, or falling into a trap, giving enemies too much time to maneuver. But the mastery of the predator lies in unerringly choosing the moment to act, the form of response, and the degree of candor. There is no room here for impulsiveness or haste. Every gesture, word, and breath must be measured and filled with meaning. Living at your own pace means subjugating time to your will, making the world adjust to your rhythm instead of fitting yourself into someone else's. Imagine a conflict where opponents are screaming and chaos spreads like wildfire. A harmless person will begin to mirror that hysteria, panic, and lose control. A true leader acts differently. He does not reflect the madness of others. He pauses, assesses the situation, calculates everything, and allows events to unfold according to his scenario. By withholding his reaction until the ideal moment, he turns waiting into a weapon, and that very pause becomes frightening to those around him, for people are unsettled by calm and silence amid universal pandemonium. The indecision of others becomes your advantage. A slow, deliberate step, a controlled tone of voice, and measured movements. This is the language of dominance, communicating your power more eloquently than any words. Tempo serves as your armor. When pressure mounts, maintaining your own rhythm protects you from forced errors. When someone tries to provoke, manipulate, or rush you, your unshakable temporal composure disarms them, forcing them to act out of desperation, while you act according to your design. When others expect you to move in panic, you choose movement on your schedule, turning their false assumptions into an instrument of your control. This is precisely why people of strong spirit cannot be rushed. They have learned that speed does not equal effectiveness, frenzy does not mean strength, and action at the wrong moment is a waste of energy. Patience is not weakness, it is the highest form of precision. To master your own pace, you must first learn to track it. Identify your natural rhythm in stressful situations, then reinforce it, eliminating reactions that provoke rushing and training yourself to resist the pull of external chaos. Let every heartbeat, every breath, and every step be the result of your conscious choice. Once you achieve this, no one will be able to put you at a disadvantage. The world will rush past frantic people, while you calmly decide when and where to move. Every delayed strike, every restrained word, every calculated gesture signals your authority. Your stillness appears far more dangerous than their frantic activity. Your patience is a weapon, and control over tempo is dominance in its purest form. The fifth principle: teach your mind to interpret fear in a completely different way, for fear is not the enemy. This is the first lie you must rid yourself of. The ordinary person sees fear as a signal to flee, a shameful weakness to be concealed, or shackles that restrain him. But a person with a predator's mindset knows the truth. As Machiavelli said, people usually flee from danger, but the perceptive man goes toward it. And this is the fundamental truth that separates those who are broken by pressure from those who rise unbroken. Fear is pure information. It is a message, a map of the terrain, and an early warning system that indicates where threat lurks, where weakness hides, and where opportunity for attack opens. A mind hardened by stressful situations does not surrender to panic. It reads fear, analyzes it, breaks it down, and transforms it into crystal clarity of thought. Every surge of adrenaline, every tremor of anxiety, and every racing heartbeat, these are signals, a set of coordinates, hinting at how to dominate the moment. Notice how most people react. Their thoughts scatter, their vision narrows, and their hearts pound as though fear itself is a predator ready to devour them. They fight it, deny it, and thereby surrender control. While the true master does not resist, but accepts the signal, feels the excitement, and uses it to recalibrate focus. Fear must not cloud the mind. On the contrary, it is designed to sharpen your senses to the limit. In the perception of a strong personality, time seems to slow down, allowing hidden patterns to emerge that remain invisible to the trembling observer. View every element of fear not as paralyzing poison, but as valuable instruction, turning anxiety into optics through which an impeccable strategy is constructed and balanced decisions are made. The mental restructuring begins with attentive observation of your own reactions. Next time your body responds with tension, register the specific triggers, moments of narrowing attention, scattered thoughts, or rising impulses. By mapping these signals and understanding the rhythm of your fear, you will learn to predict behavior, both your own and that of those around you, with astonishing accuracy, transforming instincts from masters into obedient allies. While most people collapse under the onslaught of panic, allowing it to seize their mind, you will rise above, transforming emotions into useful intelligence. Remember, the feeling of fear itself is temporary, but the consequences of decisions made under its influence without proper control remain forever. Every time you transmute anxiety into concentration, you temper your spirit, illuminating with the searchlight of your mind those zones where immediate action is necessary and where it is better to wait or to apply strategy. Where the unprepared person sees only threat, the true predator discerns the hidden contours of new opportunities, and this distinction defines the line between complete collapse and absolute dominance. Under colossal pressure, the ordinary man goes blind, deaf, and commits chaotic errors, while you must become calculating and maximally attentive, noticing the slightest vulnerabilities and adjusting your actions with ruthless precision. Absorb this fundamental truth. Fear cannot be fully destroyed, but sovereignty over it can be achieved. There is no need to strive for fearlessness. It is enough to acknowledge the presence of anxiety in your chest and to harness its energy with cool head. A racing heart and an adrenaline surge are not enemies, but tools that, when properly calibrated, provide clarity of mind, foresight, and control, turning a force destructive to others into your personal weapon. The sixth principle: demonstrative absence of reaction as an instrument of power. The entire world, from provoking people to your own intrusive thoughts, constantly tries to knock you off balance. But where most people instantly flare up, shout, or make excuses, you must maintain icy calm. As Machiavelli rightly noted, People judge primarily with their eyes, and so your stillness and refusal to mirror chaos becomes a psychological blade, striking more powerfully than any open aggression. Do not confuse external inaction with passivity. A harmless person freezes from helplessness, whereas the inner predator goes quiet in order to observe, calculate, and absorb information. While the average person broadcasts doubt and fear with every gesture and micro-movement, your face and body must reveal absolutely nothing. This inscrutability creates invisible but powerful pressure, compelling those around you to grow nervous, fill silences with unnecessary words, and make mistakes you will use against them. When someone tries to provoke you with words, gestures, or intimidation, suppress the instinctive desire to respond immediately. By maintaining control over your expression, you seize the initiative in any situation. Flares of anger only provoke escalation, whereas absolute impassivity evokes from those around you respect, fear, and caution, allowing you to enter the game only at the moment that is exclusively advantageous to you, making your silence sharper than any blade. In critical situations, whether in tough negotiations or open confrontation, allow your opponents to emotionally exhaust themselves, while you coolly preserve your energy and strategic clarity. Your ability to remain unshakable amid universal madness not only deprives enemies of the sense of control, it changes your reputation. People begin to fear the consequences of pressuring you. They don't even need to see your strike. You win in advance simply by refusing to play by their rules and demonstrating that you cannot be managed. The seventh principle: the art of turning pressure against others. What for most men is a crushing burden that breaks the will, for the prepared mind becomes another powerful instrument of influence to be used in one's own interests. While those around you surrender to panic, make mistakes, and display their weakness, you can remain still and turn universal tension into your advantage. Machiavelli observed that the true nature of a person is revealed precisely in difficult times, and this truth must be exploited. Any stressful situation inevitably cracks the defenses of opponents, exposing their indecision and vulnerabilities. One who remains unperturbed amid chaos automatically assumes the position of observer and strategist, turning the surrounding disorder into an instrument of control. Those who break under the weight of expectations voluntarily surrender their power, providing you with a perfect opportunity for dominance. You must learn to work with pressure the way a sculptor works with a chisel, carefully, calculatingly, and ruthlessly, cutting away what is superfluous to give the situation the shape you desire. Faced with threat or urgency, the ordinary person becomes a victim of instinctive reactions. He raises his voice, grows flustered, and makes hasty decisions, becoming predictable. You have no right to fall into this trap. Your mind must work like a precision instrument, capturing the slightest fluctuations in the atmosphere and instantly calculating ways to exploit them. Every moment of external pressure serves as a mirror, reflecting not your fear, but the weaknesses of those around you. The true predator never acts impulsively. He uses observation, allowing others to exhaust their resources while he preserves his energy and strengthens his positions. Tension becomes for him a lens sharpening understanding and illuminating the one right move to seize the initiative. In any conflict or negotiation, people under pressure reveal far more than they planned. Their words betray their strategy, and the slightest hesitation betrays hidden fear and uncertainty. The master of the game does not intervene too early. He waits for that very moment when tension reaches its peak, and the opponent, overestimating his own strength, opens himself up for a strike. It is in that second that one precise, calibrated action can completely shift the balance of power. To effectively exploit circumstances, one must cultivate patience and restraint, for a false start forfeits advantage, while delay allows opportunity to slip away. Your icy calm and silence weigh heavily on opponents, projecting tension back onto them and amplifying their anxiety. Under high stress, the difference between winner and loser is often purely psychological. People surrender not because the task is impossible, but because they feel that control is in someone else's hands. By allowing others to bear the burden of emotional tension while you remain unshakable, you effectively turn the situation into a weapon against them. It is important to clearly understand, a leader does not create pressure artificially. He manipulates the pressure that already exists, transforming the storm that frightens others into his own obedient instrument. Every mistake, doubt, and miscalculation of those around you only reinforces your power, turning chaos into a staircase leading to absolute dominance. In the course of this transformation, pressure ceases to be an enemy and becomes an amplifier of your power, a forge in which invincible mastery is tempered. Remember, fear must become your servant, not your master. It is not an opponent to be destroyed, but a valuable resource to be subjugated. Most people live their lives running from fear and perceiving it as poison, when in reality it is a tool, a guide, and a weapon awaiting a firm hand. Thinkers of the past understood that the wise man does not seek to eradicate fear entirely. He learns to command it. One who is under pressure does not seek the illusion of fearlessness. He acknowledges the presence of threat and transforms that feeling into pure energy and concentration. To act while experiencing fear means understanding that courage lies not in the absence of danger, but in superiority over one's own reaction to it. While ordinary people freeze or flee, surrendering even before the battle begins, the strategist uses those same chemical reactions of the body to sharpen perception. You must train your mind to separate the physical sensation of anxiety from the impulsive command to flee. Fear is a built-in warning system designed to illuminate the high stakes and identify threats. It is a signal that an untrained mind mistakenly interprets as paralysis. For the prepared person, every stomach spasm, racing heartbeat, or surge of heat is simply incoming data, to be analyzed and redirected. Emotions are not to be argued with, they are to be negotiated with, listening to their source and compelling them to work in execution of your commands. The ability to act in the presence of fear without surrendering to it is the highest expression of self-control. History knows many examples of this principle in action. A person led by fear is weak. A person who acts despite it is strong. But the one whom fear serves becomes truly untouchable. Instead of fearing consequences or the unknown, learn to see anxiety as a searchlight, pointing precisely where caution is needed and where your greatest opportunity is hidden. Submitting to fear means ruin. Knowing how to use it grants absolute superiority. The process of gaining power begins with awareness. When anxiety rises within, do not try to fight it. Become an observer. Give this feeling a name. Find its source, and having understood what is happening, take control. Slow your breathing, calm your body, and focus your attention so that the racing heartbeat transforms into a clear working rhythm, and the chaos in your thoughts gives way to crystal clarity. Now every heartbeat and every thought obeys your will, not the impulses of panic.